Hi, and welcome to this week's Property Legacy podcast. This is episode 6 of season 4, and we're with Gemma today, all talking about rent to rent and Gemma's experiences so far as a property investor.
So Gemma, can you tell us where you started out? What was your starting point when it came to getting into property?
So it is a bit of a story. Basically, I got divorced 3 years ago and I was waiting for my financial settlement, and I know I was going to be getting it last year, about August, September time. So I thought, this is my chance to build a business rather than just buying a house and being comfortable the rest of my life and working in the bank for the rest of my life. That's my background. I thought, this is my opportunity to make a business out of it. So I started educating myself, listening to podcasts and YouTube videos, going to networking events. I was recommended Samuel Leeds, so I went to one of his crash courses. And then I did a Touchstone 2-day event that was a very hard sell at the end of that.
Yeah.
And so obviously I didn't join their academy. And then I joined Susanna Cole. So we was either going down the flip side or the sourcing side, but I didn't end up doing any flips in the end with her. I found it quite a bit of a slow process, and also it was all online because she was in Bristol, I think. So I didn't sort of connect with it properly because she encourages you to network, but it was all online or on the phone. So then I met a girl called Marina through Susanna Cole, and she actually said, do you want to come with me to this event? The sort of focus on creative strategies and things like that. And I was like, oh man. So, and then she ended up saying to me, oh, I can't make it now, but you still go along. I was like, so I went, and I realised that she'd kind of tricked me in a way, because it was just one of the PMAs, the golden ticket that Aaron Curry offers to people. So I think she knew that I was just going to love it. So I did the 3 days PMA, Property Mentorship Academy, and then joined the VIP straight away, literally the next week, following week. So I started that in November last year, but I'd already started the purchase of a house. It was supposed to be a hands-off investment.
Okay.
That was in Carlisle, so it was supposed to be a sort of HMO conversion and worth more and pull all the money out and everything. And then that all kind of went wrong. Didn't trust the company. Went up there to see it, and I couldn't even get in the house to see the house that I was buying, things like that. And I was just like, this is not right. So just started getting bad feelings about it. So then I thought I could trust the builder that I met, again through a networking event. So got the help from him, managed to get the house to go through and complete in January. But again, I got bad feelings about him. He was saying all sorts of things. So I was like, right, no, let's just leave it. But it had already obviously gone through. It was on a bridge, meant to be on a bridge, redevelopment finance. So obviously didn't need the redevelopment finance, so I ended up just having to sort it out myself. Went up to Carlisle, sorted out the house, all the people that I needed to meet there, and just give it a bit of a freshen up. So I met Joe through sort of recommendations, asking other people, and he does the management side. So obviously I was sort of saying, would it work as service accommodation and things? So he was like, well, I already have quite a few houses where we're providing accommodation to people in the hospital, and they all know each other, so it's word of mouth that they get people to fit the room. So it's a 3-bed terraced house, but there's a room in between the kitchen and the living room, so we've made that into a 4th bedroom. So it was slow to start with. Income started coming in I think April, but most months it's been gross about £2,000 a month coming in.
Good.
Amazing.
So it was a relief when it started coming in. And then I managed to get off the bridge just in time for the 16th of October, so it's now on a normal mortgage, and I'm so relieved that it's just on a normal mortgage for the next couple of years. So I have got equity in that property.
So is that still an HMO, a small mini HMO?
It's like a mini HMO,
Yeah.
So it's four rooms and shared kitchen and bathroom.
Very good. The good thing about that is you listen to your feelings about it and then just keep plodding, going at it.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of the time you have to listen to yourself as much as you possibly can, because quite often we try so hard to get something through no matter what, and it can then become the worst thing ever. So listening to the worries and concerns helps you.
That's definitely one of the things that I've learned, is listen to your gut. If it doesn't feel right, don't do it.
This is
definitely
it.
what I would say.
And what you found with all the training providers is, one, there's loads of them. They've got to fit you and your personality. So if you go and speak to Stephen Green, he's more of an army background, so he's very forward, where Samuel Lees is more of the younger audience. Touchstone with their sales team that seem to get more persuasive as time goes on, shall we say. And then you got Pin and Progressive and all these, but they all teach the same theory. That's at the end of the day. And it's whoever suits you that you feel comfortable with. So I think that was good that you didn't just go with the first person you talked to, and you actually got some information.
Yeah, I've probably spent too much on education, to be honest. And I did Jamie York as well, I forgot about that one. That was a 12-week
Just add another one.
Just another one. But I love Aaron's community. It's just amazing. It's in Wilmslow, it's not too far away from here. And a lot of it is about the mindset as well, because it's 80% mindset and 20% property. That's what you have to really work on, is the belief system, and I really do this, and the imposter syndrome and all those things.
But with you coming from a bank background as well, which is, correct me if I'm wrong, is more reserved and not really a risk-taking background. Now you're coming into this where there's always a risk, but you can create calculated risks and things like that. So how was that change for you to change the way you looked at money through your career and through what you've been taught from school?
It was a bit of a shock, to be honest, because obviously I've always done things in a certain way, working in banking for 25 years, and I still do work full time for the bank. So that's hard as well, like transitioning between property and banking, because it's very different. But in terms of the money side of it, I didn't read Rich Dad Poor Dad book until last year. And I was like, how am I 43 years old and I'm only just reading this book and sort of realising what it's all about? And I was like, I've always worked in banking and I've never thought about it like that. Obviously creating the assets that's going to give you the cash flow, that's going to pay for your lifestyle, that's going to pay for your car, that's all of that. So I've done a lot in 18 months, a lot of self-development and a lot of learning. It's just, it's been crazy.
When I went through it myself, I found that you've got to get your head around all the mindset and thinking of the way you think about money, because you've always been brought up that you go and you do well at school, you go to uni, or you go and get a good job and you work hard, and then you get a big house, a big car, all that kind of stuff. But at the end, that's just you paying for things.
That's it,
Nothing is actually giving you anything back. And the Rich Dad Poor Dad, or the actual Monopoly game, where you go and buy a few little houses, then convert them into hotels and go on and on and on. That's really what life is about. But it takes you a while to get that, and we don't teach the younger generations that. There's nothing in school that teaches about it. But I think that's more to do with the fact that they want employees rather than entrepreneurs.
Exactly.
So that's the big change.
Well, it's like even the school system's not changed for years. The school system was created around people that worked in factories. Literally a factory worker shift, that's how it was created. But nothing's changed for so long, and the world is changing around everybody, but even that basic schooling system, it's not changed for, I think, like something like 60, 70 years. So
It's more than that. Since Ford and Canish did it in America.
So a long time.
A hell of a long time.
So I know obviously you've spoken about your HMO, but I know you're quite experienced with rent to rent as well. So do you want to speak about the current portfolio you've got and how you went down that kind of strategy?
So, like I say, I do a lot of networking. So I met two guys who do the rents. They were managing it as well. So they were just like, do you want to come and have a look at one that we're getting ready? So I did. I think that was November time last year or something. And I was like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to let these guys sort of manage it. So I ended up getting the first one with them in February. No, it was end of January, and then it was full the whole of February with contractors. So I got quite good income that first month, and then it kind of went a bit downhill after that. The contractors sort of, the work wasn't happening and they had to go home and they didn't get anyone else in. So it was just sort of normal bookings. So that was a little bit up and down.
Rent to SA rather than rent to rent.
Well, it's rent to service accommodation. So that was the first one. But it was, fortunately, they managed to do a 3-month rent because it needed carpets and stuff that I needed to pay for. So that was all right. And then me and my business partner, Julian, who I met through Aaron Curry's mentorship, we came together in March and did one together. So we got that up and running. We literally went to see it on the Tuesday, got the keys on the Wednesday, We had it live by the Friday and had our first booking by the Monday. That's how quick it happened. So it was really good. We did a hand-holding service with Tom and Freddie, they're called. I don't know whether you know them.
No, I don't know.
I think they have been to a couple of the networking things, but they're really good guys. So showed me everything that I needed to do and then just went from there. So we got another one in May, an apartment that's doing really well, and then another one in August and another one in October.
So you're finding
got 4.
the rent actually working well for you then, as long as it's rent to SA, not rent to just basic rent out? And that's obviously the Manchester area, is it?
St Helens is
St
the
Helens,
main
that
area.
one.
My one is in Wallasey, and then the 4 that we've got is St Helens and Haydock.
Right.
So a lot of contractors in the area, because it's really good for getting to everywhere: Manchester, Liverpool, Warrington, Prescott. So it's a really good location. The first one, the bungalow that we got, is literally right near the A6, and it's got a pub across the road. So that's ideal for contractors. That's all they want.
Somewhere to eat there.
Eat and sleep and have a beer. That's all they want. But the apartment's had someone in there since August. She had a house fire, so I think she's going next week. Finally, a house is going to be ready. She's got 2 kids, so.
Right. So being able to provide housing and homes for those kind of scenarios are really important.
Absolutely,
because
yeah.
what happens if you do have a fire? What happens if
Exactly, yeah.
you're working away from home? How do you actually look after that?
Yeah, so it feels really good knowing that we're helping someone as well as obviously making a living out of it. So she's a really lovely girl as well. She's keep messages me saying, yes, we're going to be booking again, and we contact each other as well. Obviously, if we need to clean in between.
Definitely for the long term, we just have to work it out.
So, obviously, I know you've managed to do quite a lot in quite a short space of time. If you were giving advice to somebody that's starting out now, what would be the best piece of advice that you could give them? Because we ask this to a lot of people that might have done that, been in it for years and had lots of different experiences. But there are people that are starting out new who might look at someone like yourself and go, she's achieved so much in such a short space of time, that's what I want. So what would be the advice that you would give to them if it was literally their starting point, they had no idea what to do first?
I would definitely say education as a first thing. Educate yourself. It's hard for me to sort of say one specific education thing because obviously I've done so many. Or get a mentor. If I was going to go back, I might have just got a mentor. But then things happen for a reason. I've met my business partner through that. But I would definitely say education, consistency, and you do have to sacrifice a lot as well. I've probably not watched telly properly for 18 months because I've been having to do things around my full-time job, around having a life and, you know, looking after myself and things. And action taking is the main thing as well, because we see a lot of people within the community and things, and it's like you might do all this learning but not actually take action. So it's like, do take action rather than learning and then try and take action at the end of it.
So one of the things we find is giving people accountability and actually saying, you know, you're going to do this by a certain time, but also not to get stuck in that analysis paralysis where people just looking for that perfect deal that has no money down, nothing to do on it, and all that kind of stuff, the unicorn of deals. But the majority of the time with properties, you can go and find a property, do the deal, and actually run with it and learn more doing that than you will do just going to get a course or something.
You're always going to learn more actually doing the thing that you want to do.
Absolutely. And in terms of, obviously I know you're juggling everything around working in banking, what's the goal with that? Are you wanting to go full time in property?
Yeah, absolutely. That is my goal, as soon as possible.
When do you think you'll take that jump? It can be a scary jump as well.
Oh, absolutely. Like, the security from the last 25 years being in a normal job, although I've only been full-time for the last few years since my divorce, because I had to go full-time, but the security is just, it's going to be very scary. But the aim is to get to 10 rent-to-rents, and then we've got £5,000 each on average, say £1,000 per property, if we can. And then, obviously, I've got my Carlisle property, I've got my property as well, and other avenues that I've got as well to make money. There's always different ways of making money, even referrals to day companies, management companies and everything as well. So
I think as well, with that risk of going into it full time, I think as well we set ourselves these ceilings on things all the time. Well, if I can't do that because then I have to achieve this, and sometimes it is like what we've been speaking about, and it's so fluid with our messaging for people. Like, you have to take action. You have to do things that feel scary and risky. You are going to think, oh my god, what if it doesn't work out? But it's knowing exactly what you have in order to make it work. Most people, they see a ceiling and they go, that's it, no, that's my ceiling forever. And it's like, well, no, there's so much more that comes from that. You've just got to make sure that you have those additional bits. What are my multiple income streams? What is this? What's that? Who are my audiences that I can, profit from, and all of that. But do you think you'll do your existing with growing your portfolio? Is that something that you think you'll do in your business partner setup, or are you intrigued to do some more stuff on your own as well?
Yeah, I would like to do a bit more on my own as well, because you never know what might happen in partnerships. So I would really like to do more things on my own. Obviously I want to buy more property, whether that is with my business partner or on my own. So that's how I see next year planning out. Trying to put a bit of focus on some lease options as well, because they'd be the perfect rent to rent, but with the option to buy. So that's one of the things that we'd like to do a bit more of. So more connections with letting agents and things. So ideally, I'd like to be gone from my job in summer next year.
Exciting.
Ideally.
Well, it's a scary thing to do, and when I did it, in hindsight, it probably would have been better leaving it another 12 months, but I would have hated doing that. It's just a case of you go for it, and especially if you're stepping off when you've got a £5,000 income, that's going to make it a hell of a lot better for yourself.
Definitely, yeah.
Cool. So with the first property being miles away from Manchester, you think you'll go that far to be in the future?
If I could get the same sort of property and get Joe to manage it, then why not? Because it's quite far away, but if I go there once and sort it all out and prepare it, and then he just manages it, then mind doing that at all?
So was that a good thing for you, going for your first one being so far away, or should you have really looked at your immediate circle? Or?
Yeah, I think in hindsight I should have waited a bit longer. I think because I knew the money was just sat there, and I was like, I really need to do something. This money could be working for me, and I just wanted to get going. So I'm quite an impatient person. So I was like, I just want to get something done. So you probably should have waited and just done things closer. So there's a lot of opportunities in Manchester. So I could have just stuck closer to home, definitely.
Well, you'll definitely get a lot of contractors around the Trafford area coming up in the next few years, won't we? With all the new stadium and everything there. So, is that, you're going to carry on doing rents? Is that what you really like?
A rent to rent is just a tool to get out of the job, because it's quicker cash flow. Like I said before, within a week we had a booking, whereas the one that I bought was months. So it's much quicker. But I would like to be owning the property so that I'm getting the cash flow and the increase in equity as well, and building the wealth. So, but that's the first goal, is the cash flow to replace my income, to give me my time back, so that gives me more time to focus on.
A lot of the education companies put rent to rent as the thing to do while you haven't got much money. Do you think that's really the right way to look at it, or does it stand up as a strategy on its own that you can do whether you've got money or not got money?
Obviously it costs a little bit of money to do a rent to rent, because you've got to put your first month's deposit and rent down and furnish it all, make it look nice, stage it, photographer, everything else, and then get it all on Airbnb if you're doing any training in it, because obviously there's specific people who do training in SA as well. So you're probably looking at 6 to 10 grand per property. But there's always options around doing it without money as well, because we've got an investor lent us 10 grand and we're giving him 10%. So he's happy with that. We can get another 2 from that. So it's a win-win.
Amazing. And if you think about, I know you said a lot of the people that you've met were from doing the courses or networking. How important do you think networking is in the property industry?
Massive, absolutely massive. That's how I've met a lot of the people that I now know. The lady who does the staging, I class her as a friend, and hopefully I'm going to be co-hosting the networking event with her. So you just meet so many different people that you can connect with and help each other. I'd definitely say it's really important to get yourself out there. I know it's difficult for some people because they don't feel like that extrovert person, or walking into a room by yourself for the first time is quite scary, but you've just got to go out of the comfort zone.
I think it's essential as well, because what you'll always find when you go networking is you'll always meet people that are further on than you, but you'll always meet people that are earlier on than you, and actually you then become that person that you needed the first time you went networking. And it lends to itself, because just from having normal conversations with people, it can lead to joint ventures or collaborations, or even just keeping people fresh in your mind when certain things come up, or if you see an opportunity you think, oh my god, they would be perfect for it. I think in terms of that, the face-to-face networking when it comes to property is just essential, because what you don't know.
Exactly.
And you can learn so much just from having conversations in the room with people. And if you're all working on different strategies, there might be things that you've never even tapped into before, you've never even learnt about. So it's just about opening yourself up to, it can feel scary at first. And sometimes even if you do a lot of networking, sometimes you can just be having a bit of a rubbish day and think, oh god, I can't be bothered. But you can come out and be like, oh my god, I've just met this person and they're going to do this with me.
That has happened so many times. I've literally had the most rubbish day, gone to a networking event, and it's just lifted me up again. It's just, it's so good. And one of the ones that I met at Property in Poppadoms, that's how I got one of the rent-to-rents. I met him through that, and then he was saying that he's selling for all the deals, and I was like, right, well, we'll take Haydock on then. So
it's just being in the right place at the right time, isn't it?
So over probably the last 5 or 6 years, it's kind of equalised the men to women kind of feel in property, which is really good that we get a lot more women involved. So does that make it easier, do you think, for people to come to meetings where it's not just a wall of guys there that ignoring everybody that hasn't got any money in? I always viewed it when I first went there that I knew nothing, had no money, and it gets, you think everybody else there are millionaires, and you feel under pressure. So do you think now, that because we've got a really good mix of who attends, whether it's you just starting out or veterans, does that help then new people come in?
Yeah, I think it's, when I look back to when I first started networking and my view on it, I did think it was more of a male orientated space. But when I sort of went and I started doing more and going to more things, I actually realised that a lot more women were into it. But there is still that kind of stigma, I think, around women in property, but it has got a lot better. Day by day, I think it does get a lot better.
I do think, because you don't have a lot of women in the trades, a lot of builders don't take on. So I've got 5 daughters and they're all in the property game. So when they talk to contractors, they don't always get the same feedback and the same respect, and that kind of understanding of, because they know exactly what they're doing, but they always seem to be, you're just a girl you don't know, which it does wind them up quite a bit, doesn't it?
I bet it does, yes.
Ash, our tenant manager, she's quite clued up on how much things cost and what's what, so she's not very happy if people don't understand that either, is she?
No. But it's all part of it. It's for our family, because it is mostly, you know, I'm the odd one out. It's very much trying to get them into the business so that eventually I can sit back and not do anything. That's the whole point, isn't it? But the whole point of this education podcast is to get the information out there, to kind of bridge those gaps to people that may not have thought it was for them. Because you don't always need £100,000 in your back pocket to then go and network and go and get involved. No,
absolutely not. I think that's the thing that I've obviously realised, is that there's so many different ways of making money through property that, but obviously I wouldn't have got into it if I hadn't have knew I had that money coming in, because I wouldn't have thought it was possible. I would have thought that you'd have needed quite a lot of money to get into it.
Well, that's it. The first property I bought is £109,000, not Manchester way, but Blackpool way. But it only cost £800 of my money. So it only cost £800 of my money because I got an investor, I got the mortgage company. So you can get involved in property with less than £1,000. And that property we still own now. So it's just getting that education out there that people can understand that you can do this at any age, because my mum still invested in properties, and then we've got a student that's in his very early 20s. You don't have to just go along the lines of, oh, you've got to be in your midlife crisis or going towards retirement to be in property. So if somebody's watching this and they want to work with you, whether that's somebody just starting out that wants a little bit of guidance, or whether that's somebody that wants to invest with you, how do they do that? Do you have a website? Do you have socials that you can get in touch with you?
I've got all of them. So I've got Instagram, which is gkp.properties. I've got LinkedIn, which is Gemma Pearson GKP Property Limited. And I do have a website as well, which is just gkppropertylimited.co.uk.
Excellent. And are you actively looking for investors for future projects?
Obviously, going into next year, looking at buying more property, so we'll be looking for investors that want to work with us, JV. In the future, I would like to sort of do a bit more coaching and mentoring as well. So I would like to get into that space eventually.
Very
I
good.
do like helping people.
Perfect.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that say no, and it's how to deal with that. And how did you deal with it? Or did you just talk to people that had deals available? It's all that type of stuff.
To be honest, 2 of them were sourced, paid a sourcer, and then one of them was through the thing. But I have had a lot of sort of training and practice doing the spiel to people. So one of them, we actually do the spiel, and it's just a case of sort of saying to them, it's guaranteed rent, 3 to 5 years. It's actually more looked after because it's cleaned every week, rather than having a tenant in there for 3 years and then you have to go and sort it all out after. What else would we say? Maintenance, we deal with the maintenance. So they literally get the market rent fully because they don't have to deal with any of the small maintenance stuff. Or a management agent because we're the one who's managing it.
Amazing.
So, and you said you were working with a company for off-market deals. Do you want to tell us a bit more about that?
So it's like Rightmove but for off-market deals, basically. So they obviously deal directly with the sellers. I don't know if they might be struggling to sell. So basically I get investors and match them up, or I've actually got someone who was struggling to sell as well. So he's going to them to sell, and that's a portfolio. So that's another way to make money as well. So any referrals I send over, I get paid for that as well. So could be refurbs, legals, lettings agents.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the Property Legacy podcast. As always, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify and Apple Podcasts to listen or watch along, whatever works for you. If you're not connected with us already, make sure to find us on social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok and YouTube Shorts. And we can't wait to see you in 2 weeks' time for our next episode. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the comments below. And we can't wait to bring you back for the next episode with a brand new guest.